during that process. And with that, Mayor, I'll be glad to answer any questions that y'all have about our process, how we do it, why we do it, and anything else that I can't answer. I'm not going to get into details of the investigation. It's still very preliminary. This incident occurred on Sunday. It's Tuesday. We're still interviewing witnesses, and I will tell you that our incident assistance coordinator has been in touch with the family's attorney, trying to make sure that we're reaching out to them as well to make sure they understand the process directly from NBI.
May I ask you one question, being an old person?
Sure.
Okay, do you get out here and kill a baby or kill anybody and continue to walk around policing with a gun?
Typically, what I see in most situations, and I'm confident that what we'll have here is that there is some sort of lead that is put in place.
But he didn't say that though.
Well, look, those are personnel matters, and they have to be careful about what they discuss as far as personnel matters in public. And I'm just telling you what I typically see is usually these officers, for their own safety as well as everybody else's, are put on some sort of administrative leave during that time period because that's just the typical process. So I can't imagine it being any different here.
It still is some comfort to the family and some comfort to the community. If this man had said, well, he's on suspended leave, he didn't say nothing.
That's right. And we'll talk about that and get with legal counsel and make some information.
You don't need legal counsel for that. That's common sense.
Well, it is common sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably how 98% of these are handled, and I'm sure that's how this has been handled.
How long do you think the commissioner's investigation is going to be?
They vary. Right now, you have to do the autopsy. That has to be performed.
We are staying on top of breaking news out of Senatobia, Mississippi, where people are packing out the city hall there, outside and inside. We're hearing from authorities who are investigating the case. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is overseeing a shooting, an officer-involved shooting that happened outside of a Walmart that ended with a 1-year-old dead. And that 1-year-old is named Kohen Wiley. And today, Senatobia community members all rallied for justice for that 1-year-old Kohen Wiley. We are expected to also hear from the family of Kohen Wiley as well. This is outside of the Senatobia City Hall, where you can see a large crowd has now gathered. Lots of people speaking in opposition of this or for justice, calling for justice of how the events unfolded leading up to that shooting. So large gathering, as you can see. We have our Lauren Turman on scene there, as well as we have 2 cameras following the developments that we are seeing right here live. We do know that the family is now being represented by civil rights attorney Ben Crump. We also heard that Van Turner, who is a well-known Memphis attorney, is also accompanying those legal efforts as well. So we do have 2 cameras with team coverage following today's efforts for justice for Kohen Wiley. This is the rally. We're going to take a quick listen in, if we can, to hear what people are saying outside during this demonstration outside of City Hall.
It's been going on. It's been going on. You can't go ahead. Sorry.
All right, we are going to touch back base with our crew there once they get settled. But this is inside of City Hall, where we know that the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is taking over this case at the moment. We do have an official there addressing the public. We heard one person ask about what would happen or what is going to happen with the officer who was involved in this shooting. And the gentleman there mentioned that typical procedure would be to put officers on administrative leave. Senatobia city officials are also present, as you can see. Earlier, this whole room was packed, but it seems they may have done some crowd control at this moment. So let's listen in to see what else we can gather from what's happening at this moment.
Leave without pay. Right. That's the motion that factor been made.
In executive session, they could still take that up and make a vote. I know that's what you can do. Would you agree?
I agree that they have things that they can do in executive session that aren't discussed in public. I do agree.
But I mean, that decision could be made.
There's a wide range, yes, on this group.
All right.
Would they have to have had, could they have put that in voting motion and have a vote, or does the law prohibit them from doing that?
The law don't, I ain't a lawyer.
I think, I don't want to speak for the council here, but
It could have been
Typically personnel matters you take up in executive session because of liability concerns. If they have a frank discussion and something is said that's not accurate, then that opens the city up for defamation claims and other things. So those are typically matters that are handled in executive session so that you don't damage reputation and personal information. So that is typically how that's done.
So that question, that the motion that they were trying to get you to make, was that proper or not?
I don't know.
It's not an executive session.
It is, they're choosing not to speak for liability reasons.
Council, we all know that was proper, the motion was proper. Now, we gonna bone this motion.
It was a motion, and I don't know that that was on the agenda, and I'm not sure how
Don't make
the
no
documents
difference.
work. So.
You can put stuff on the
It's gotta
agenda
be
and call me.
executive session. I don't know how many times.
And I think that's probably what they will discuss. I will tell y'all, just like we told them, we're about to meet with the press over at the courthouse and answer any questions that they might have about the process. So we're about to make our way over there. Unless y'all have any other questions of me, I'll be glad to try to answer those. If y'all have any questions after you feel like you need to reach out, talk to the chief and get an answer, and we'll give my number and I'll respond, okay?
Thank you.
That over to the public.
Was inside of Senatobia City Hall. I'm Pepper Baker, ABC 24 anchor. We're following breaking news right now out of Senatobia. This is a call for justice for Kohen Wiley, a rally that is taking place outside of Senatobia City Hall. Lots of people are gathered out there, more than hundreds really, and this is all because of an officer-involved shooting that ended with a 1-year-old killed outside of a Walmart on Highway 51 in Senatobia. And now people are showing up to City Hall asking for transparency and accountability. This is video from that incident where officers were responding to a shoplifting call outside of the Walmart, and an adult with a child were seen running, and they got into a car and tried to drive away, and that's when an officer fired their weapon at the car, hitting and killing a 1-year-old child. That is Kohen Wiley, who later died at the hospital. We do know that the family, Wiley's family, is now being represented by National Civil Rights Attorney Ben Crump. We also heard well-known Memphis attorney Van Turner is also joining in those legal efforts. We do have our Lauren Turman on the scene. She will be giving us a live report shortly. But lots of people today calling for accountability. Again, this is inside of City Hall in Senatobia, where you see city officials are addressing the public. Tensions are high right now. Of course, this is bringing some very emotional, lots of emotions when police-involved shootings happen here. So we did hear from an official. We know the Memphis Bureau of Investigation is handling the case.